So last week I caught up with Alan Wake 2, and it's a pretty good game indeed. There's a funny guy called Mr. Door, you shoot ghost hippies, and the first monster goes around with his dick out. I'm still at a point in my life where penises are universally funny. But damn man, look at this game! The light realistically reflects against each single leaf of each single tree, and the faces, oh my god! They've got more polygons than an entire PS3 game, although they constantly look constipated. And holy smokes, look at how pretty Pitfalls is! So many details, and then a couple of women staring at each other forever. Their expression an endless void that drags you into the lowest pits of despair. Okay, shut it down, this is horrible, my immersion is broken. Wait, hold on a goddamn second, we need to take a step back here. It's easy to call something immersion breaking, but allow me to be a bit philosophical here and ask you, what the hell is an immersive game anyway? Hey, I'm just a low-life YouTuber, so let's hear what the actual experts think.
Heavy Rain is an immersive interactive drama.
A quintessentially Lovecraftian tale with writing so strong that you can't help but get sucked into the immersive atmosphere it creates.
An engaging and immersive naval experience.
The battlefield a more lethal and immersive place.
It's incredibly immersive.
Excuse me, what? Call me weird, but I think goddamn Tetris is a much different experience compared to Battlefield 5, aside from the fact that only one of them is actually worth your money. Therefore, I'm sorry, but it's with great regret that I'm forced to add the word immersive on the wall of shame of meaningless journalistic fluff. Alright, I'm being a bit mean here. I myself have described video games as immersive multiple times, but I believe in facts and logic, and I will not let this crime against lexicology go unpunished. So, let's dive into it. No pun intended. Going by standard definition, something immersive is able to surround the audience and make them feel completely involved in something. It's not really a definitive answer, but it still tells us something. You will typically see people online describe this with the sentence, I feel like I'm in the game. Honestly, I've grown past the age of 6, so I stopped believing in unrealistic stuff like being inside a game or you'll get a raise next year. But for now, against my better judgment, let's go with it and say that immersion is a matter of identity. The more I can identify with the protagonist, the more immersed I am. Well, that's a bit reductive, ain't it? We're basically saying that by definition, first-person games are always more immersive, because nothing can make you feel like you're in your character's shoes more than seeing the world through their eyes. And with that now, every first-person shooter is immersive just by virtue of zooming the camera a bit. And this still wouldn't be enough, because it begs the question, what if the character can talk? No. Whoa. I'm not choosing the words they say, so that feeling of identity is lost unless I can pick the sentence they're about to say. And even ignoring all that, I'd still say it wouldn't be enough because I can't remember the last time I felt completely involved while playing a Call of Duty game. So let's literally zoom out a bit to give us some more breathing room. Identifying with a character might be helpful, but is not enough to create an immersive experience. Let's search for our answer in the world that surrounds us instead. I'm once again Detective Alan Wake 2, investigating a murder in Twin Peaks. How is the game making me feel immersed? It might be worth revisiting the first part of the definition of immersive. It seemingly surrounds the audience. So, the world needs to be stuffed with sensory stimuli that make me feel part of it. And the game seems to be doing that just fine. My eyes are gazing at all the realistic details of the environment, while my ears pick up on the multitude of dialogues and the sounds coming from the forest around me. Or maybe from someone else. It's foreboding, but also quite beautiful. Let's fast forward a bit, and now we're in Pitfalls. People are working hard, the funny radio do the same funny stuff, but can you see the problem here? Okay, maybe this will help you a bit more. Can you hear that? Absolute silence. That feeling of surroundedness is gone, and the only way this thing could be immersive is if they reveal that the town is hosting the annual mime gathering. Pitfalls is a ghost town that animates only when it notices your presence, and the best you'll get is an NPC waving at you. The two silent women are just the most damning moment in a chain of illusion-shattering events. Mind you, I don't blame Alan Wake 2 for not having 300 lines of dialogues for each NPC. This is normal, but it shows that if our concept of immersion stops at how realistic things look, that facade will always crumble the instant we stare at it for too long. It's a feeling of immersion that only relies on the technical aspects of the game. So I'm gonna call it technical immersion, because calling it feeling of immersion is entirely dependent on how big the budget is seemed a bit of a mouthful. But budget really is the crux here. Choices need to be made. You can't have enough money to push the graphical fidelity while also recording thousands of sound effects and hundreds of optional dialogues without going bankrupt. Well, you can't, unless your company is called Rockstar. Red Dead Redemption 2 is the golden standard for technical immersion, and no game comes even close. You can listen to someone telling their whole life story in front of a campfire, and the day after they'll have something new to say. The wildlife behaves realistically, with birds hunting their prey and carcasses rotting in the span of weeks. The amount of man-hours spent on this game is just gargantuan. No sane person would dare to greenlight such a project if they didn't know that the game would sell a bazillion copies on day one. And yet, is this enough? Most things I remember of Red Dead Redemption 2 are just me looking at stuff. The game was performing at me, but sitting in silence for too long distanced me from the experience rather than enriching it. But you said immersion is passive. Yes, but I also can't be immersed if I'm dozing off, can't I? Besides, most of these ultra-realistic details can only be noticed if you spend a long time looking at random stuff, which is something most players simply will not do, and they seem designed for YouTubers without an ounce of creativity with all those top 10 hidden details in RDR2 videos. Bruh. The issue becomes clearer when looking at other big-budget games. Horizon Zero Dawn looks incredible, but it's only immersive in the sense that I want to drown myself rather than playing it. All the impressive details just fade away because the world was simply not interesting to begin with. But wait a second, how do people notice hidden details in the first place? Sure, graphics are appealing, but what brings them to engage with the game long enough to experience this technical immersion? Actually, how did I notice the two silent women in Alan Wake 2? They were off the critical path. Many players probably never even saw that. I was wasting time? I have a very utilitaristic view when it comes to game and narrative design. Everything should enrich the game's themes and mechanics in some way, and every activity that wastes the player's time without any kind of reward is useless and should be cut away. And hey, what is this? A video that talks just about that. But what if the game makes me want to waste time? To wander off aimlessly just because I feel like it? Well, we've just entered the realm of emotional immersion. And Alan Wake 2 did that for me in the first 20 minutes. You start the game proper and you need to reach a murder site. And now, if you're a good boy, you follow
Sami Antero Järvi.
Why wouldn't you? The sexiest man alive asks you to follow him, you better goddamn follow him. You reach your destination, Officer Goofus says hi, and you're ready to check the wee-wee of the corpse. But what if you feel daring today? You get the map here and ooh, look at how big it is. The gorgeous environment pulled me in, and so I decided to explore around a bit. I found Bobby Kotick's summer apartment, a few secret stashes, and traces left behind by the cult that hides in the forest. Ooh, mysterious. Already, I know that this game lets you explore and it will reward you for that. But that's nothing compared to this moment.
Deputy Thornton, I take it.
Yeah, that's me. Mulligan told me you were coming the other way.
You see? You see what they did here? The game acknowledged that they did something different, that they took a different path. It's not a, Jimbo will remember that moment a la Telltale game. No. This is just a mere blip, an irrelevant change I made, and the world surrounding me reacted to it. This right here is when I got hooked. This is a promise the game makes to the player. I welcome you, it says. You're my guest and I will do my best to indulge you. The technical immersion served as a kickstarter to make me want to look around, but it's the emotional immersion that made me decide to explore all the following areas. These small little details are what make a game truly immersive for me, what make me want to engage with it for longer. It's that feeling of being completely involved in it. And it also means that great graphics aren't necessary to be immersive. Technical immersion certainly can help, but it is very expensive, can fall as flat as the typical Ubisoft NPC facial expression, and it's ultimately useless if it's just a nice wrapping for an expired sour candy. Art direction, though, can be intriguing enough to achieve the same result while being far cheaper. Undertale certainly won't be remembered for its impressive graphics, but its world was fascinating anyway. The characters looked funny, and after you see the Doggo Warrior for the first time, you're going to explore just to see if other insane shit is hidden somewhere. Deus Ex wasn't a revolutionary masterpiece because you could throw trash cans around, but because a one-off dialogue you made in the early game would be referenced at the very end.
How unprofessional.
Hey, Fallout 3 has many issues, but I can't deny that seeing the corpse of the first behemoth mutant still laying in the same place where I first left it, hundreds of hours after defeating it, felt impactful. I killed that thing ages ago, but now here I stand, having bested much stronger beasts. But this one carcass serves as a reminder of my journey. That's some powerful emotional immersion right there. The hollow shell of a once powerful entity ruling over this land. Look at that, we went from discussing immersion to discussing allegories for Bethesda's track record.
All of this just works.